All right, my name is Taylor Briner. I'm the president of the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber of Commerce. I also am one of the owners at TAR Financial. We have locations in Romeo, Armada, and now Marysville. So I have the pleasure today to get this kicked off. First off, I want to thank some of our table sponsors. So first off, we have Macomb County Planning and Economic Development. We have First State Bank, Smart Transportation, Richmond Community Schools, and we also had a silver sponsor of Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick. So thank you again to those sponsors. Next, I want to thank Little Camille's By the Green for hosting us today. And of course, I want to thank our Executive Director, Kelly Stevens, our Membership Director, Madison Rouse, for putting this all together and being here. Thank you. All right, next we're going to start off with the pledge, and we have VFW Commander Phil Cushard here to start us off with that. I don't know if we have a flag. We didn't think of that. We're going to look out the window at our flag.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order on.
All right, thank you, Phil. All right, I don't think this person needs an introduction. I think everyone knows him, but I do want to thank him for the continued support. When we merged a couple years ago, we had a couple people that really stood out that helped us put this all together. As some of you might know, we rebranded to the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber, which I think better encompassed our service area and really a couple like-minded communities that we're all out here trying to do the same thing. And Jeff White was instrumental in helping us do that. So our MC today is Jeff White. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to actually Casco Township. For those really unaware of your geography in this area, you are within feet of Northern Macomb County. It's right across the street. We're sitting in St. Clair County this morning at a facility that does just a wonderful job here, right next to a lot of our communities. They do a wonderful job with food. It's a great place to play golf. They really take good care of all of us in the community. I saw the young people do this, so I was going to try it this morning. No, I'm not. Anyways, just a little bit of ground rules. So I'm going to kind of call up the speakers all together here in just a moment and ask them all to come up and take a seat, and then we're going to give each of them a couple of minutes to give kind of a brief introduction, a little background on what's going on in their world. And then we're going to open it up to a more panel discussion. So start getting your questions ready, start thinking about it. Speakers, the ground rules. 3 minutes. 3 minutes is the amount of time now that you're supposed to do CPR, I'm an EMS guy, before defibrillating someone. In that red truck that you passed out front, there is a defibrillator. If you go beyond the 3 minutes, it's going to be a very shocking experience for you. With that, I'd like to ask all of the speakers, you know who you are, your name's on the table, to come up and have a seat, then I'll introduce you individually to offer your remarks.
Thank you.
So, speaker this morning is somebody they mentioned might not needing any introduction. This guy really needs no introduction because he is everywhere, always. I see him start at very early events in the morning and know that he is still working 12, 14, 16 hours later at events into the evening. I don't think Macomb County has any greater advocate than our county executive. Now, he and I have known each other for about 30 years now, and become friends over that time, so that's why I say such nice things about him. I'm also happy to see these finally, his hair is finally growing into his age. I noticed the guy has been gray for a very long time, that the county executive now is starting to look as distinguished as others. So with that, my dear friend, Mark Hagel.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Jeff. I hate standing behind those podiums here. Interesting enough, I just got into it with Bob Riney. He's the president and CEO of Henry Ford Hospital Systems. I don't know if you know him. Great guy. Wonderful support they provide us with in Macomb County with obviously healthcare. But him and I go back and forth because he has less hair. I guess I'll just use that as a joke. But he always says I have that Lego snap-on hair. So that means I guess I can take that from the CEO. You know, it's fortunate. 3 minutes to talk about everything going on in Macomb County is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I'll just hit a couple highlights about where we're at in Macomb County and recognize the understanding that in Macomb County, we tend to look at it as the support we get is because of the support we give. And what do I mean by that? We have 27 municipalities that make up Macomb County. We're continuously working and engaging with each and every one of them, whether it's the north end, mid part of the county, or even in the south end. And it is responsible for us as a government to understand as a county, local control is incredibly important. And obviously we will never try to figure out how do we impose ourselves on what happens within those municipalities, but we are a partner with them in many different regards. And the lady standing to my left, or sitting to my left here, she happens to be our Planning and Economic Development Director and is an incredible resource for every municipality in the county, but the outreach goes beyond that. When I first took office as county executive, I realized the importance of the regionalism and for us to compete with other regions around the globe. And one of the first things I also did was recognize it's not just about Wayne County, it's not just about Oakland County and Macomb as a region. We have partners to the north, and that's St. Clair County. And at that time, reaching out to then Chair Jeff Bohm, we had an incredible partnership and relationship to understand what is a win for St. Clair is a win for Macomb when it comes to economic development and many other areas of interest as well. And so with that, I guess there are things that are happening in Macomb County because of that mindset, Macomb with everybody. And we've seen so much being accomplished, whether it's road funding, whether it's dealing with our waterways and cleaning those. And Candace Miller, our Public Works Commissioner, has done an incredible job partnering with us and the local communities to ensure our waterways are clean. And obviously that border we share with Lake St. Clair, the busiest freshwater lake than any other in the summer months, we have an incredible asset here to promote and to protect. I, at one point in time, was going to push, no offense to those of you in St. Clair County, you had the name of the title long enough. We were going to make it the Gulf of Macomb. That didn't go over too well with the people. All right, you remember back when. But with that being said, we're very fortunate here to have this asset and this resource. But when it comes to government, you know, it's important for those of us that run governments and are responsible for the finances and the funds that come in, that we're doing the right type of movements and the financial stewardship of that. Well, I'll just highlight Macomb County. Once upon a time, 15 years ago, we had a $33 billion economy. Today, 15 years later, we have a $57 billion economy. A lot of that is all of those partners that we have within the various communities that make up Macomb. But we also, when we first got into the county government, we had a problem, much like they did in Detroit, much like they did in Wayne County, but it wasn't talked about. We were given or saddled with a $13.5 million budget deficit. We had a $500 million unfunded liability with retiree health care. There are many other issues and concerns we had, so what we had to do was we had to figure out how do we shore this up working with our Board of Commissioners, and we did. So we have had balanced budgets, structurally balanced budgets for 15 years in a row. But we are now fully funded with retiree health care and overfunded when it comes to our pension systems. But most significantly, all the work we did with our economic development, all the work we did with partnership with our communities, fixing our finances in Macomb County. Just last week, we were accredited or given by Moody's the AAA, the highest bond rating you can get, a AAA bond rating for Macomb County. That is a huge. So So I know I'm closing in on 3 minutes, and I've probably already gone through that, and had Jeff grab me or articulate me or shock me. But with that being said, we have so many things that are happening in Macomb County, and again, the testament is Macomb with Liberty. We want to continue to work with each and one of our partners, not just within Macomb, but obviously those to our north and as well, touching our boundaries to the west and to the south. So I want to thank you all for that partnership, and listen to what the other panelists have to say. Thank you very much.
Good morning again. I was thinking I needed to grab this before it rang while the executive was talking. The next gentleman I get to introduce, I met 37 years ago now when I came to this community, and his family has a long history of service in this community dating back to his father, who was the mayor, the barber, and the fire chief, I think, when I came here, in fact. And like I say, the family's got a very long history of service now. His children are taking up the mantle of that service within our community as well. It's too long a story for even a 3-minute period, but I can tell you that about 30-ish years ago, the EMS came very close to not being here, and if not for this man, we would not be. So we owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude, and there are many lives that have been saved thanks to his heroism at that time and standing up for what was right. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our Mayor, Tim Ricks.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, I luckily used AI on my speech and got it down to 6 minutes. So I'm going to do some highlights here to try to stay in that 3 minutes. So it might be a little rough here. We want to look back a little bit in the city of Richmond. Please keep me on the 3 minutes. And we had a ton of things that we did this past year. One of the biggest things was replacing our 1895 main on Main Street. Luckily, we were able to receive a grant, federal grant, thanks to Lisa McLean. She needed something real quick to submit, and luckily our DPW director, civil engineer, had something ready. So we got $700,000 out of that. That greatly helped us to get that taken care of right away. The other thing that we had was our wastewater treatment plant. We have our own water, our own sewer, which we're very proud of. We can control that. And we did a major upgrade to the wastewater treatment plant. Again, Lisa was able to get us $900,000 to make the plant much more efficient. And we're extremely grateful for that. So we're in pretty good shape. We have our own fire department, police department. Richmond Lennox EMS gives our community a safe, very reliable EMS service. We just bought another new fire engine. We bought it's not the engine, it's the water truck, the tanker they call it. That's mostly used in the townships that we service with our fire department. We also just had a brand new emergency response vehicle, something we haven't had in the past. This is something new that fire departments are doing. We just purchased that also, and so we're pretty much out of debt. We're one of the few communities that doesn't have debt, and we have a great fund balance. It's all through this conservatism that we preach. City manager that's been with us for many, many years now, a council that's been together for many years, and I just did my 26th year as mayor, and it's been a pleasure to deal with John Moore and the city council that we have. We keep things rolling in Richmond. We got a great staff. There's so many things that we are looking forward to this year. We just completed a splash pad that we've been waiting for a number of years. We got the money so we can pay cash for it. We are now have so many people that are coming there to complain about the fact that there's not enough shade. So we're putting in more benches and more shade and what they call the elements, the things that sprinkle. We have a couple of more of those that we can do, but they come very expensive. We had that. We had our municipal parking lot. We had that completely tore out. All new paving. With that, we took out the old guardrail. We put in decorative wrought iron fencing and all the other amenities there. We had a concert in that park last year that drew about 400 people. This year, we are going to have 3 concerts in there. It's mostly light rock and roll, Tom Petty type stuff. we're looking forward to all three of those. Also, I believe we were the first community that had the golf carts, an ordinance written up, and the state said, hey, go ahead, as long as you have an ordinance, you can have golf carts. I got a hold of Milford, because I was over there for a wedding I performed for somebody, and I saw the golf carts all over the place, so city manager and I contacted Milford and found out, yeah, all you gotta do is write an ordinance. In Little Richmond, we have 150 golf carts registered with the city of Richmond. And I think every year we have grown, it's a great thing. It helps your neighborhoods. People get together, people see each other. You stop and have a beer with them, or whatever. It just really brings the neighborhoods together with those golf carts for some reason. What else do I got here? Division Road, a lot of people from the Canadian National Railroad tracks on the west side of our town, the east side of our town. Those railroad tracks were horrible. We finally got on the list. We were one of 2 communities, I believe, in Macomb County that got the new intersection put into it. Hopefully it'll last for years. From there out to the St. Clair County line, the road's in pretty rough shape. Macomb County and the city of Richmond have gotten together, even though it's outside of the city of Richmond. There are grant funds available that we can use to help the county do that repaving out there. Also, decel lanes. We have Foster Oil with their big gas trucks, Weeks's with their expansion that they are planning on doing. We will be having those decel lanes. It's a very narrow road to begin with woods and whatnot. We've got to make it much safer out there. So we were able to join with Macomb County and get that done. Well, I see Smart is here, and Jeff, Smart is fantastic. Our community. Jeff used to run around and pick up some of our ambulatory people, especially, who couldn't get anywhere. Smart has just grown and grown here in Richmond, and it's got to continue. It has to. I know Jeff's talking to me about some of the issues there. We've got to keep Smart going. It has just got our residents wherever they need to go. They don't have to worry anymore. So good job with Smart. Hopefully we can continue. What else we got? We've got our commercial area, or our industrial area is starting to grow. We invested with a company that owned 24 acres. We've got 1 business in there. The timing probably wasn't the best a number of years ago when we did that. We put the infrastructure in there trying to create this industrial area to raise our industrial tax base. And we just now have another company who actually does work for SpaceX. And they just bought 6.5 of the acres, and they're going to build a 30,000 square foot building in addition to what they already have, and we're looking forward to that also. And hopefully that sparks some more enthusiasm. I keep on hearing this guy always talking about, the military, how much businesses are in Macomb County. Well, Richmond's got a piece of it now. It's called SpaceX, so we're looking forward to an expansion there also. We've got some stuff going downtown. We're working with a company right now that's going to put a turn-of-the-century style building up in an area that we had tore down right on Main Street in the north end. We're going to be having them build a 2-story. We're going to have their residence is going to be upstairs. Downstairs is going to be a salon, and it's going to be done in a very, very nice Victorian style turn-of-the-century building. So we want trying to see more and more of that in our community and maintain, the quality of life that we have there. Has been a challenge. We've got a lot of new people that have moved in, 2 subs. 1 sub is, I think there's 3 lots left out of 54. Those houses are all going for over $500,000. A little pricey. One of the issues we're dealing with is how do we have affordable housing? It's a problem that everybody is dealing with, and we're working on that. We've got another brand new sub on the northwest corner of our community. They have 43 lots that they have developed. I've been told that all 43 lots have been sold to a builder already, and I believe we have already 2 permits that have been handed out to them also. So it just keeps on, going and going. We can control our growth, which we try to do, because we have our own water and sewer. There's only so much of it, and we try to maintain and select what makes a great small community, and we will continue to do that, and I think we've done it very well. So I'm sure probably already over my 3 minutes, Jeff, but I could go on and on about how great things are happening in our small town, and it's all with the helps of people like Macomb County, and also certainly SMART, and so many others that help us do what we want to do, and again, keep the quality of life going well in Richmond. So again, thank you to the Chamber for inviting me tonight, or today, and look forward to hearing from everybody else. Thank you.
You know, I looked at my agenda, and you know, until I have to hire somebody else for this next year. I realized that inadvertently I read past Vicki Rowinski, who is our Director of Planning and Economic Development. Vicki, I have good or bad news, depending on how you'd like to look at it. The mayor went way over time, so you don't get any. I'm just kidding.
She paid me to do that.
Anyways, that was just fine. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Vicki, I'd like to now introduce Vicki Rowinski, our Director of Planning and Economic Development. What I've learned in life is, well, I've learned a lot of things, I hope, but I've learned two things. One of which is, life is about two things. It's about relationships, and that's why you're all here today, right? It's about relationships. It's about getting to know people around you and being able to pick up your phone and call that person when you need help, advice, want to provide them information. And it's about planning. With my organization, I have lots of people who can run it every day. My job is to plan for its future. Vicki plans for the future of Macomb County every day, and by all accounts, by everybody's agreement in the room, does a phenomenal job. Vicki, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you.
All right, no problem, Jeff, because it was a happy mistake that I got to go after Mayor Ricks and after Mark Hackle, because they did a phenomenal job of talking about some of the highlights happening in their community as well as the county. If any of you guys attended the economic forecast, I think I had 4 minutes, so I'll try to reduce this to 3. But I'll give you kind of a condensed version. Our team looked at the numbers of what is happening in northern Macomb. And first I want to give some accolades to the team, if you guys can just give a little shout out back in this corner. This team is constantly looking at the data. What does the data tell us? And really we can measure it in 3 different areas. We can measure it in population, we can measure it in productivity, and we can measure it in prosperity. And all 3 of those things are happening very vibrantly here in the northern communities. When we say northern, we're talking 26 miles north. So if I can actually have some of the students stand up. I know we've got some students here from Richmond and Romeo. All right, so Jeff says we do a great job of planning because, you know, ultimately we're planning for you. We are always looking out into the future on how do we make Macomb County a better place 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out. Where do you guys choose to live? You guys can go ahead and have a seat. But you guys are my Gen Z when we talk about population. And we know we're hitting that curve with the silver tsunami. We're seeing the retirements hit in real time. The difference in the northern communities, about 22% of your population is your baby boomers. Those students that just stood up, that's your 9%. And so when we talk about housing and affordability, it really is how do we make this county advantageous for you guys to come here, live here, work here, play here. And so we've got a lot of work to do because you're just 9% and we've got to figure out how to even increase that number. So our population is what it is. We do look good compared to the rest of the state as far as people choosing Macomb County. We've got to figure out that housing component of it. And that's where productivity comes in. And I'm glad Mayor Ritchie talked about this company expanding in Richmond because that's part of our economic development strategy where we've got to diversify. Last year we did see a little dip in automotive. It's always been the bread and butter. But our economic development strategy prepares for that. And it looks at other targeted industries such as aerospace and defense, automation and robotics, distribution, logistics, warehousing, and the one that is actually one of my key favorite ones because it gets back to the legacy of who we are in Macomb County, and that is food and ag. And in fact, when we look at the numbers, you have a very robust food and ag population up here, a lot of farmers. Talking about net worth, owning their farms and being able to keep those farms in perpetuity is a key economic strategy for us. So the last one is prosperity, and we can measure that by looking at the numbers, saying, what is the net income? The individuals that own their homes, own their cars, they have very little debt. That's pretty significant here in the northern region. In fact, our net worth, when we look at what you guys own, is about $1.6 million. That's higher than other areas in Macomb County. But that's where we want to reach to. We don't want to have that debt. Mark mentioned Moody's. That's a big deal. I went home and celebrated, and my family had no idea why that was a big deal. But we talk about what that means for our future, the future bonding of projects. All the things that Mayor Rick talked about, those things can now happen at a lower percentage rate, which really means that we're probably going to see some significant growth that we haven't seen in Macomb County in a while. However, when we measure our net worth and we look at the value of our homes, love that we're building, but are we making it affordable? Getting back to our students, they may come out of college or come out of high school making $60,000 a year, but can't afford a home in your community. And so when I look around the room and I see some of our community leaders here, and I know Jamie's going to talk about, the bill that's in Lansing right now, that's maybe not the right bill, but what are you guys doing at the local level to really make it a quality of life component? But in the meantime, we're going to focus on our parks, our natural resources, looking at the amenities, that quality of life that you can't measure, but it's a feeling that says, I love where I live, and I love where I work, and that place happens to be Macomb County. So I'll leave with that, open for questions afterwards. Jeff, did I stick with my 3 minutes? All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
So a couple brief other introductions. One, there's a guy standing in the back corner of the room. When we talk about relationships, this is a guy that kind of is an unsung hero of the world. If you don't have JP Reyes' number in your cell phone, get it from him before you leave. You're welcome. If not, I can give it out if you'd like. It's there is. He is an incredibly responsive public servant. With the number of people he has to deal with in the county, with the number of issues the county has to deal with, you text JP, you call JP, he gets right back to you. JP, for those of you that don't know him, is Mark's Swiss Army knife, is what Mark said. Deputy County Executive, like I say, usually if you see one, you see the other, if you will. I think they are kind of attached to the hip. But JP just does a great job for this county. Can we give him a round of applause, please? With that, I didn't catch whether the president mentioned the chamber board. So real quickly, whether he did or he didn't, if you can, raise your hands. Really quick anyways, I won't make you stand up, but if you're chamber board members, can you let us know who you are so people can see you around the room? Now, I do have a request before I move on to my next speaker, and that's simply this. Chamber board, I want you to invest in a little something for us for next year. When we're back here at Little Camille's next year for the chamber for the Chamber of Legislative Breakfast, I want you to get a little bit of music for me. Because I saw Conan O'Brien do this last night, because my wife makes me watch the Oscars, at least part of it, until I fall asleep. And when guys go beyond their time limit, they start playing music. Last night, they even at one point retracted the microphone. No, I thought that was pretty dangerous.
The music's playing.
So with that, I will introduce our next speaker. He is actually my direct boss. So I have to be nice. He is the supervisor for Lenox Township. Anthony, one of the things I can tell you about Anthony is he is incredibly detail-oriented, and I think he, like so many of the guys up here, literally works around the clock. because I will send an email on a Sunday evening when I might be getting caught up on paperwork, and within 10 minutes I have a response. That's appreciated by, I think, everyone in the community, not just me, is that when you reach out to him and you ask him something, he is going to get you a response back, and it's going to be detailed and it's going to be factual. And that's incredibly important for our public servants. With that, Mr. Reader, Anthony.
Thank you, Jeff. So unlike some people, I don't need AI to write my speeches. I actually do my own writing. So, good morning and thank you to the North Macomb Regional Chamber for this opportunity here today. Organizations like this play an incredibly important role in strengthening our local community, sponsoring businesses, and bringing communities together across municipal lines. For those who may not be familiar with Lennox, we're proud to be one of the few communities in northern Macomb County that continues to grow while maintaining the character, stability, and sense of community the residents and businesses value. For this past year, it marked an important milestone for us at Lennox Township. We officially became the charter township of Lennox. That transition strengthens our ability to protect our tax base, manage growth responsibly, and ensure that development occurs in a way that benefits both the residents and the business community. It gives us the additional tools to plan thoughtfully for the future, while preserving the qualities that make our township such a great place to live and work. At the local level, we're continued investing in the quality of life amenities that make Lennox an attractive place for families and businesses alike. One of the most visible additions this year has been the installation of our new pickleball courts at our municipal park. I'll tell you what, they're one of the only lighted courts in Macomb County that you can play after dark, so you might want to actually go check them out. They have quickly become a gathering place for all residents of all ages and are a great example of how a relatively small improvements in our community can benefit and have a meaningful impact. We've also begun work on the next phase of our park expansion. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the big giant equipment behind Township Hall, including the construction of an access road that will support future development within the park. This year we expect to move forward with the addition of 4 new soccer fields, which will allow us to host more youth soccer sports activity and bring more families and visitors into Lennox and the surrounding communities. Beyond recreation, much of our work this past year has been focused on preparing for the future. A lot of that work happens quietly through land use planning, infrastructure discussions, and making sure our policies position Lennox to responsibly accommodate opportunities when they arise. Interest in our community continues to grow, and our goal is to ensure that when development occurs, it aligns with our long-term vision and benefits the entire region. At the same time, one of the biggest challenges facing local government and the community and businesses we serve is the continued erosion of local decision-making authority at the state level. Over the past few years, we've seen increasing efforts in Lansing to override local governments on issues that directly impact our communities. From Public Act 233 of 2023, which removed local siting authority for utility-scale renewable energy projects, to recurring proposals that would strip communities of oversight regarding sand and gravel mining, to efforts aimed at eliminating local control over short-term rentals. The trend has been moving in the wrong direction. And it hasn't stopped there. Recently introduced legislation by someone in Macomb County, House Majority Whip Joe Aragona, House Bills 5529 through 5531 and 5581 through 5585 would significantly restrict local authority by preempting municipal decision-making on key zoning issues. These bills would override local standards on matters like duplexes, accessory dwelling units, minimum setback, lot sizes, and even the size of dwelling units themselves. Regardless of where someone stands on these individual policies, the bigger concern is the precedent it sets. Replacing local zoning and community input with one-size-fits-all mandates from Lansing. We've also seen revenue redirected away from municipalities and towards road agencies at townships and that have little to no direct influence over, despite the fact that it's our residents and businesses who rely on these roads every single day. Now, here in Macomb County, we are fortunate to have a strong and collaborative relationship with the County Executive's Office and the Department of Roads. That partnership has been incredibly valuable. But across Michigan, many communities don't have that same level of cooperation. The reality is this: local leaders understand their communities better than anyone else. We know our infrastructure, we know our neighborhoods, and we understand the needs of businesses and residents that we serve. Stable, predictable local planning is critical for communities and businesses alike. Good governance requires balance, common sense, and trust in the people closest to the issues. It is the duty of every elected official to stand up, speak out, and defend the right of our local communities to make decisions that shape their own future. Despite these challenges, I remain incredibly optimistic about where Lennox and the North Macomb Regional Chamber as a whole is headed. When communities work together, support their local businesses, and continue investing in infrastructure and the quality of life, we create the kind of environment where people want to live, work, and invest. I'm grateful to work alongside a dedicated team on the Lennox Township Board of Trustees. Our clerk, Michelle Gurley, and treasurer, Jennifer Sutherland, are here today. Come on, stand up. The amount of back and forth I have to go across the office on a daily basis. I look forward to continuing to partnering with our neighboring communities and organizations like North Macomb Regional Chamber as we move forward. The future for Lennox Township is bright, and we are committed to ensuring that our township remains a place where opportunity, community, and responsible growth go hand in hand. Thank you for the opportunity for today. And Jeff, here you go.
So I mentioned that actually today we sit just a few hundred yards in St. Clair County. The host community for this event is actually Casco Township. And so we have with us today their supervisor. Now this is a gentleman who, there's been a lot of discussion about local government and the impacts things going on at the state have. This is a gentleman who I call it really came up from the mailroom in local government, planning, trustee, and now township supervisor. Now, although they're in St. Clair County, we share a lot of services. People just kind of shake their head when you're around the state. They said, two counties next to each other share services? Here, we share a school district. We share a fire department. We share the local emergency medical service with our neighbors in Casco Township. This road doesn't mean much to anybody other than a political subdivision that each community, each township was afforded when they decided townships would be 36 square miles. Because otherwise we work absolutely hand in hand, all of us here, with our neighbors in Casco. With that, it's a pleasure to introduce Township Supervisor Joe Stevens.
Okay, I'm not good at public speaking, but good morning and welcome to Casco Township. Casco Township, we're a growing community. This time last year, we approved our master plan. We redid it every 5 years. Townships are required to look at their master plans, but it had been about 25 years since we did a complete redo. So that's what we did. We updated it. To know the growth pressures are coming, and we want to have our ducks in a row, as you might say, to to meet those challenges when they happen. Right now, we don't have really big developments happening. We have a couple in our industrial district. There's some going on. But the big things that are coming on right now are our road projects. We have a lot of road work this year. The biggest one that draws most attention is Church Road between Marine City Highway and Meisner is being paved. Now, Church Road's a county road, and I grew up on Church Road between St. Clair Highway and Division. I've heard it's always going to get paved at some point. Well, in order to alleviate that traffic coming off 26 Mile Road or Marine City Highway, they want to pave that Meisner Church Road to get some of that traffic to Meisner Road. So I told the County Road Commission I am insisting on a 4-way stop there, to help with the traffic flow. Actually, like Anthony brought up about the road funding there, actually St. Clair County, we had a hit to our revenue sharing, but what we got back in funding for roads, St. Clair County has the surface preservation program, so we get about $130,000, but we have to spend it at first on paved roads. If there's no things to spend on paved roads, we could put it onto our limestone haul, which we're always grateful for that. Can never have enough limestone on the road or enough ditching to be done. So the other big thing is St. Clair Highway. We're going to do our final mile of overlay from BC Road to the county line. We're using a combination of ARPA money and match grant from St. Clair County Road Commission. We also, Palms Road from Marine City Highway to I-94 is going to have an asphalt overlay. The best thing that's happening in Casco Township is our park. We are developing a playground at the Casco Township Bell River Park on Fredmore Highway. If you don't know where that is, if you're on Division Road, you keep going east, you go over I-94, you'll see the gas station. Our park is right next door. We've developed it Phase 1, Phase 2 using DNR passport grants. We're successful in getting another passport grant to build a playground. So the park is getting used, and it's strategically located. It's right along Bell River, and there's a group working to complete the Coast to Coast Trail, which ends in Richmond at the Macomb Orchard Trail, to take it down Division Road, Fredmore Highway to St. Clair, to hook it up to the Bridge to Bay Trail. Once that's done, they'll complete the the Coast to Coast Trail in Michigan. That goes right by our park. Plus, there's another group that has a vision to have a water trail on Bell River. If all goes well, from Memphis all the way to Marine City. That Bell River goes right by our park. It'd be the place where the two trails, when realized, come together. So it's kind of neat, exciting, and that. So, but developing the park is a long-term proposition. Eventually, we want to take a road back to the river, have a parking area, have an ADA access to the river. So, yeah, good stuff has happened. We're very fortunate in Casco. We have a very good township board and a very capable township staff that serve the residents of the township. I think I'm probably the weakest link on the board by far. All the rest are very, very skilled, in our township, just like I said, staff that serves. Like Jeff said, we are part of the greater Richmond community. I consider Richmond my hometown, even though I've lived in Casco Township my whole life. I went to school in Richmond, that's where we shop. So, and Richmond School District is a big part of Casco Township. So, thank you again for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. I'm representing the township before this board. Thank you.
So our last speaker, and then we're going to, I really do want you to think about the questions you have for these folks, because I think sometimes as good as the speakers are in outlining the issues for us, you all have questions for our elected officials. Don't ask them on Facebook, ask them to their face right here, okay? That's really the way to get your questions answered the best, and as opposed to listening to the keyboard warriors out there. The next individual that I get to introduce, and it's really a pleasure, somebody that came again from local government, and went all the way up to state government, is our state representative, Jamie Green. Jamie was a city council person in Richmond, and then ran for state representative for this area, and has done a phenomenal job. She's done a phenomenal job for a number of reasons. But let me share with you, what's really most impressive about Jamie. She has never, in her term there, succumbed to peer pressure. I don't think she's ever listened to a lobbyist. I'm not sure if she lets them in her office or not. What she does is she comes home here and she listens to all of you, all of us, and then she goes back and votes on what you told her to vote on and how you ask her to vote. Let me say that again. She listens to you. Then she goes back and decides how to vote based on how you ask her to vote. I'll tell you, as a guy that spends more time in Lansing than I'd like advocating for my organization, that's highly unusual. There was a recent vote in Lansing. It involved some matters that were important with EMS. I think the vote was 103-1. She didn't care that her peers, what they thought. She didn't care what the lobbyists were telling them. She didn't care, that she might take a little heat from those she has to then spend the rest of the day with. She voted that way because it was the right thing to do. And that's what she's there doing for you all of the time. And so therefore, it's with great pleasure that I introduce Jamie Green. Jamie.
Can you guys see me from here? The podium will bury me. So yeah, State Representative Jamie Green, thank you so much. I represent Northern Macomb County, half of St. Clair County, and half of Lapeer County. I call myself the heart of Lisa McLean's district, so it's kind of the heart of the thumb. Yes. So 2 things that have been a theme for me this year. 1 is civility, and 2 is local control. Hence my shirt today, make politics local again. And I do believe that the 2 go hand in hand together, because when you talk to your neighbors, when you communicate with the people around you and your friends and those on the other street, civility actually happens, because we have a lot more in common with each other than we do separate. And so I love Macomb with you, because that means we're together as a community, because we hear that whatever versus everybody, but that's not civility. We want to be with you. We want people to feel welcome, and we want everybody in their communities to be safe. So this was a fantastic panel, and you guys did some great things, but can we also be honest that things are weird right now? Like, things are weird statewide, things are weird federally, things are weird globally. And that's again why it's so important for that civility and then that local control to stand. I thank Supervisor from Lennox for his bomb that he dropped today, because there are a lot of things going on in Lansing that is taking away your local control, your local authority. And it's very unfortunate, because especially the housing package that was dropped recently was a big disappointment, because nobody knows planning or your community better than your county planner, your municipal planner. They have laid out and mapped where roads are, where sewer systems are, where the water is, the grade. Like, people don't even know in Lansing that there's different levels of grading for roads, and so it handles a certain amount of traffic. The housing package is that it's like, just take away all zoning and you can put anything. It's the wild, wild west is what I call it, and it's really disappointing, because some people have worked really hard to live where they live, but also, like, you've got Ray Township, who just doesn't want anybody there. And so they like their community with less people. And that's the way they designed it, and people move there for that reason. And so I do appreciate, and I know that I represent my communities well when I hear the leaders reinforcing what I'm doing, and I am lonely in Lansing a little bit, but I'm lonely in Lansing, but I'm not lonely here because I love my community, and I have so many community members that support me and encourage me and keep sending me back for some reason, so maybe you don't like me after all. One positive thing, so of all the nutso things that's happening, I do want to say the big positive thing is that we have secured Selfridge. And I know up in the northern Macomb County, we don't necessarily think about it, but actually all my neighbors work there. So it has a huge economic impact on our communities. And many times it's been what they call bracked, like on the cutoff list that they were gonna close it down and take it away. And everybody here, and then even in Lansing, has secured funding to change the runway so we can get the F-15EX Eagles, and I forgot my pin today, that they can be here, and the KC-135.
No, KC-46.
Okay, for tankers, that's right, that's what we have now. So that they can stay here, and so that is a huge investment. I think it was last year we put $26 million in the budget for that, and then we just, well, the House passed $152 million because that whole area needs to be reworked, the runway needs to change, the roads, the water, everything needs to be rerouted. So right now it's time to put pressure on your senators to get that out. We would like to get it done this week before we go on our legislator in district time. Because it's really important, because we've made a deal and the governor has made a deal with the president to be able to secure that fighter mission here. So that's a positive thing, is that at least we may not always get along in some things, but the Macomb County reps do get together, especially when it comes to Selfridge and our security here. So thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
I could use an assistant.
Oh, me?
Yes, you. I'm just going to ask you to pass that along to the folks in the audience that may have questions for our panel members, and I'll it's a little tight back here, I can help pass the mic from side to side of the table as questions come up. If you have somebody you want to specifically direct a question to, please feel free to do that. If you'd rather it be kind of just a panel discussion, we'll figure out amongst ourselves who might be able to provide you the best answer to your question. So with that, let's start with some questions for our board members. There's got to be one out there somewhere. What's that thing you've been dying to ask?
Mark. Oh, here they go. There they go. They're popping over here.
Good morning. My name is Karen McCuna. I'm on the North Macomb board, and I'm also a mortgage broker locally. And talking about affordability for my first-time home buyers, it is a major concern. There is a cutoff that when I go to pre-approve majority of first-time home buyers, just the taxes alone and or insurance on a home, they're not qualified in a desired area. So wondering, not just the inflation on the home values, but is there something that is taking place or consideration of those type of costs, being just the taxes directly?
Jamie's got it.
Yes, so that's a great question. And so it's interesting because one of the first elections I voted on was that Proposal A back in the 90s. And what that did was help keep our seniors in our home. But it has caused, with the Headley, some really tough situations locally. But also then it's kept housing costs down if you stay in your house. But then what happens is when I move out of my house, when I want to downsize, I get what's called a pop-up tax then. And so we do have legislation right now that Representative Van Bolen has introduced in the House to address the pop-up tax. tax. But this is a conversation that we are having in Lansing, and that's why it would be great, instead of talking about zoning, that we talked about things that were making things more affordable. We've also learned, because I've done a deep study on this, because I have young kids. I have a 20-year-old son who would like to buy a house as well. And why can't he get into a house the way it is? Well, his expenses are also very different than they were back when I bought a house. So believe it or not, housing prices, especially up here, have stayed pretty stable. But the federal government has rolled back, like before everybody could qualify for a house. Now banks want that security because there was a lot of trouble that happened in 2009, 2010 that we got to be cautious about. But also, kids need to learn that, like, I never knew the subscription economy, how much it impacted, like, my son, for example. And so there's a lot of moving parts in this conversation, besides the pop-up tax, that we need from you, especially as a broker, on ideas that we can take back and legislate on. So this is a great opening to the conversation, and my office would be happy. I've got my staff back here because we knew these type of questions would come back. If you guys have ideas, especially because you are the experts in that industry, we would love to have more ideas than just usurping local control, because there's got to be other ways to make it so these kids right here can buy a house. Yeah.
Kind of on a different note from that question, I mean, affordability in buying a house. You know, Jamie's got a son who would like to buy a house. I have a nephew who lives with me. I would like to buy a house. But with that being said, interesting enough, I'm just going to kind of take a different spin on it. People that do have homes and the foreclosure issues that are out there. Our treasurer here in Macomb County does a great job, Larry Rocco, trying to make sure that people can keep their homes. In fact, he's used that mantra as kind of an offshoot of what we have is make Macomb your home. Well, he uses his terminology that keep Macomb your home. And so they will work out some payment plans the best they can to try to figure out how to do just that. So if you know folks that are having challenges, please have them reach out to our treasurer, Larry Rocca. He does an incredible job of making sure people don't lose their homes here in Macomb, especially during these challenging times.
All right, next question.
Good morning. So my question is for Mayor Ricks and supervisors of Lenox and Casco. As you know, we're trying, as the Richmond Community School Boards, we're trying to reach out for another bond, a new bond. But my question for you is, I've heard a lot in regards to the growing pains and the growth, and I know, Mr. Ricks, you said that there were 2 new subdivisions. One has 43 lots. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit more about subdivisions and things that are growing? How many are we talking? Kind of each of your districts, or not districts, but townships.
Yeah, the city of Richmond is getting to the point where, you know, we're busting at the seams also. These 2 subdivisions, the one almost being full already, I think there's 3 more lots left there. But the new one certainly is going to have a demand on the school system. As we all know, the school system is having a real problem with growth. There's not enough classrooms. I have a daughter that teaches over there, and she's confirmed to me there is no room in the middle school whatsoever. It is a very important bond that you've got coming up in May for the growth, and it's a sign of a strong community when your schools can get supported. Everybody's dealing with taxes, everybody's dealing with everything. You know, Richmond's the 2nd lowest taxed homestead tax in all of Macomb County, of villages and cities. So we have a very low tax rate to begin with. And that's part of the school's bonding also. With the retirement of that one bond, it's a tax increase, but it's going to be the same amount of millage to add all those classrooms. Parking lots that are badly needed, you know, as you get older, it's harder to walk in the blowing snow over to our gyms. Sometimes you think about, well, I might as well just stay home. I'm not going to freeze my butt off, you know, walking into the gym from way over. I think that's going to answer part of the problems also. And the fact that we don't have enough parking anymore. You have a couple activities at your schools, there's no place to park. You've spilled over into our auditorium parking lot now that we, you know, acquired from the schools a couple of years ago. So, yeah, it's it's definitely a need. And I think the townships, you're gonna hear the same thing. They're seeing growth in the townships. Our call run on our fire department, and I think Jeff can attest to it too, on the EMS, it's taxing out in the townships. So I'm sure you guys are seeing growth, positive growth out there also. So you feel the brunt of it at the school. Sadly, maybe you want to talk to the state rep and see if she can fix the funding that we have for schools in Michigan. It's one of the worst. I served on the school board in Michigan for 8 years before I got on council. It's a sad, very, very sad. More money needs to head in that direction at the state, but I know Jamie, promotes the public schools as well, and it's going to be tough to ever change the formula there. But I think that's gotten a little closer over the years.
Increase the foundational level.
Yeah. So.
How do we get a parking lot?
Yeah. But sadly, again, you rely on your local tax, your residents, your voters to increase the needs of the schools. And I believe we're in desperate need right now to match the growth of the community. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Can we count on your support then for
For the bond issue?
Yes.
Of course you can. Yeah, I've seen it. I've taken the time. I believe you turned somebody else who was against the bond in another elected position here in our community. They were invited over to the school. They went through the school and saw for themselves and turned completely 180 degrees around. What are you going to do? You know, your family grows. You grow to a point where you can't be in your house anymore. You've got to buy a new house. We're not buying a new house. We just want to put some additions on it and be ready for the future growth also. That is here, so, yeah.
Thank you for that. No, I believe the stakeholders need to hear how that growth is affecting each of the townships too, what new builds are coming. Because everywhere I look now, it seems like there's more new builds than.
Yeah, the progression is definitely coming our way. We have a lot of people who moved out here. I think one of the toughest things is keeping traditions alive in our community and backing. One of those is backing our schools. We've been known for backing our schools here. But it's not just Richmond. Armada just had a big defeat also.
Yes.
And I understand are in trouble financially. So we're not alone, but certainly I hope we see Richmond lead the way here, get some bonds passed so that we can continue to give the quality of education that we have in our community to pass.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I think you pretty much answered everything.
Did I go beyond
Thank you.
3
We have
minutes?
another question.
And AI did like that, by the way.
Got a question back here, come straight to you.
All right, thank you. Again, welcome everybody. Mark Miller, Little Camille's by the Green. I'm going to stink up the question here a little bit, and I want to get kind of like all your opinion, and I'll give you mine. And this is about the Pine Tree Acres, my neighbor next door. They're looking for their expansion. I'll just give you my quick take. Would I want a landfill next to me? No, I wouldn't. But it's already there. It's been run very well. I am right next to it. I get affected by it, very rarely, I might add. I do not have a problem with it expanding, and I do not have a problem with the way they've been operating. They're great neighbors. If I have any issues, they're right on to it. And my question is, I know a lot of people have a lot of questions on this particular subject. I'd like to see it expanded, and I'd also like to see them start looking at another alternative, because in 10, 20 years down the road, there's going to have to be another alternative. And I'd just like to know what the townships and the city's thoughts would be on that.
Wow, and you're going to expect me to hand this microphone to one of them? I quit. Well, since the landfill actually, is in our community in Lennox Township, I'm going to start with Mr. Reeder and just let him then pass the microphone down.
Should I start the music?
So, not many people would like to be next to a landfill, that's true. Our municipal offices have a direct site of a landfill. The problem is it's a necessity in our way of life. The amount of stuff that we continue to throw away until we come to a more sustainable future, landfills are going to continue to exist. As to past the lifetime of the landfill, I don't know, because that's 20 years down the line. That's more so the county's plan than the township's. So, I'm gonna hand this off.
Well, we're downwind from that, so it's, yeah, the city council, the city officially hasn't looked at the solid waste plan that has come from the county that has passed. I'm not sure if it's not this, it's not tonight, is it? No, we moved it to, in 2 weeks from now, where we're going to be considering the county's waste plan. I don't think any of us have a real problem with the county's waste plan. What we have a problem with is all the damn Canadian trucks that come through our community. We're going to spend $250,000 to up Gratiot that we're responsible for. A lot of that is because of the tons of trucks that come through from Canada down Gratiot. You know, there's just so many other things that just doesn't sit real well for some of the people that live in the south end of Richmond, because when the wind changes just a little bit, we pick up some of that smell. On a hot summer day, it's not pretty. So that's a problem, and it always has been a problem. As far as the expansion of it, it's necessary as long as the federal government continues to allow Canada to bring their garbage to us. And I know it's a much bigger issue. We have quite a bit of information that's come from the county now that we are starting to go through, and again, we felt the city council didn't have time with everything else that we have going on. It's been moved to 2 weeks from tonight, I believe, or whatever our next city council regular meeting is. So yeah, it's something that we've lived with for a number of years, and I'm sure we will continue to live with. We can only try to make things better. Joe Stevens.
Yeah, me and the other community affected. Yeah, our residents, they smell the smell, and I know landfills are a necessity. I too would like to see the Canadian garbage stop. Canada has a lot of land, why can't they do it? And I know that's a bigger issue on there, that's interstate, international commerce. But 2 summers ago, when they were rebuilding Gratiot in St. Clair County, for the first couple of days, the trash trucks were coming up Palms Road to St. Clair Highway, and my phone just blew up. I mean, I've had normally nice people were just freaking out over the garage. So I got with the director of the landfill, and she was excellent. She got with all the trucking companies to send the trucks up to 26 Mile Road, and within 2 days. And plus, she sent Macomb County Waymaster down there at the little segment of St. Clair Highway between Gratiot and County Line. In St. Clair County, even though we don't have a contract with them, the Sheriff's Department sent one of their Waymasters patrol St. Clair Highway in our township. And within a couple of days, all the trucks were going up to 26 Mile Road. So, yeah. So they're responsive on that issue. Folks, I gotta go. I have to be in a board review meeting and at 10. So thank you again.
Yeah, just real quick, I mean, it's not to belabor this issue, but it is one that's obviously a hot button issue for many people, especially those that really don't understand the issue. And it's very complex, and to try to explain it in 3 minutes. The county, when somebody says, it's the county, it's actually the Solid Waste Committee that the county is required by statute to seat. And the representatives that are on this committee are designed by statute as to who gets selected to be on that. They make a determination as to what the future planning for solid waste is for the county. And they then turn that over to the Board of Commissioners when they've come up with what they believe is probably the best solution. They did that, and the Board of Commissioners here in Macomb County supported unanimously that particular plan. Now it goes to the 27 municipalities individually, where they each now have a say and have an opportunity to vote as to whether or not they support that plan. But what does that mean for each and every one of you that put your garbage out at the, at the curbside to have it picked up? Well, the question becomes, if we're not going to be expanding the landfill here, what is the other alternative, as Mr. Reader had talked about? That is probably 20 years into the future if this plan survives. If this plan does not survive, it is going to be in the very near future. And you can pretty much rest assured that the cost associated with you putting that trash at the end of your driveway is going to be astronomical. It is going to go through the roof. And so that isn't a reason or a testament as to why you should support or community support this, because there are a lot of other concerns. But each and every one of those concerns has been addressed by this particular committee, and each one of those municipalities, as they're deliberating, has the opportunity to have those questions asked and answered by not only the committee, but even WM. And WM has been a great community partner over the years. Credit to them. This plan that they have is one that will help us move forward with this county for the next 20 years while we attempt to try to figure out what is the next stage or the next phase for those that are sitting here, those young adults here, when it becomes your turn to figure out what do you do and what's the cost of putting the trash out at the end of your driveway, hopefully here in Macomb County. So right now it's been through about probably 30% of the communities have already made their decision on this. Thus far it's been unanimous on those particular communities. We're still waiting. It's got to be at least, I think it's 2/3. Is that not correct, JP? 2/3 of the communities have to support this, and then obviously that'll be the movement forward. And I need to say this, if you haven't recognized it, we're fortunate because there are 2 landfills here in Macomb County that have been put to good public use here in Macomb over the years. When they've capped them, they've turned them into some economic opportunity with quality of life assets. One is Freedom Hill. If you haven't been to Freedom Hill, you haven't been to one of the concerts there, you need to check it out. It is absolutely incredible. I'm a Pine Knob kid, but I don't want to go to Pine Knob anymore because getting in and out of there is a bit of a challenge. Many of you probably would agree with that, especially if you're old like me. But Freedom Hill has some great concerts. It's an incredible venue, and it was once upon a time a landfill. The other is concerned with Jimmy John Stadium, which is now United Shore. UWM or something like that. Yeah, UWM. So something like that. United Wholesale Mortgage. Okay, they are now the new naming rights of that facility. And if you haven't been to that ballpark, you need to check that out too. It's quite an asset for Macomb County, economic development wise as well. So maybe the future here, if and when it does close, I won't be around, but Rear might be skiing off the mountain at some point in time, if that's what it becomes. So again, locals are going to have, and as a county, we tend to look at it as we like to see this local control. Let them have a voice, let them have a say. It is going to be completely up to the municipalities here in Macomb County as to the future of what we're doing with solid waste.
He knocked it out of the park.
All right, all of them just handed the mic the rest of the way down to me. I think at this point we're going to kind of wrap things up. Okay, one more question.
Hi, I'm Marty Hutnick from Romeo, and I don't have a question, I have a comment actually. So this is my first time attending, and I've really enjoyed listening to y'all. I just want to say thank you for listening, and thank you for all you do, and most of all for keeping it positive.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you.
And isn't that a nice way to wrap it up, to think politics can be positive? With that, Taylor?
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Couple other comments I just want to make real quick. We did have a few other dignitaries from other communities and local and townships that are here, which I think is just awesome. And maybe weren't up here on the panel, so if a couple of you could stand up, I see a few of you, Mike Philbrook.
Mike Philbrook. Yeah, Mike Philbrook.
So thank you. Final comment is you see our chamber website here on a couple of TV screens. I think those words, communities connected, is exactly why we're here. And branching off of that, we have a few board members that are leading up, putting together a committee, in this area to stay connected. All the townships, all the municipalities, you're doing events. So how can we team with you? How can we really bridge this together to help promote each other instead of doing double work? We're all trying to do the same thing. And that's really what the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber is trying to do. So if you're interested in that committee, there's a few of us board members around. But again, it's just trying to join forces on events and things that are already happening. All for the reason that we're here. We're here to support businesses, big and small. I think majority were a lot of small businesses to continue to grow and thrive. So again, my name is Taylor Briner, president of the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for all being here. We still have a little bit of time, so grab another coffee and network. So thank you.